God made powerful covenants with his people. But did you know that all these promises point to one ultimate fulfillment in Jesus Christ? In this video, we explore the major covenants of the Bible and reveal how God's eternal plan was always leading to Jesus, the final and perfect covenant. Whether you're new to the Bible or want a deeper understanding of God's faithfulness, this message will strengthen your faith and show you the unshakable love of God through Jesus. Don't forget to like and share this message with someone who needs to hear about God's unchanging love. A covenant is a binding, formal agreement made between two parties. Covenants play a very important role in the Bible because God is often one of the parties involved in the covenant. In fact, God is the one who usually initiates the covenant, thus binding himself to an agreement or to a set of promises. God makes several covenants in the Old Testament. In Genesis 9, God makes a covenant with Noah, along with his descendants, and all living animals, that he will never destroy all life on the earth again with a flood, promising several things. God will make Abraham into a great nation. He will bless Abraham and make his name great. He will bless all peoples on earth through Abraham, and he will give Abraham's descendants the land of Canaan. The Mosaic covenant, by contrast, is quite different, for it emphasized human obligation. This covenant also appears to be one-sided, with God being the primary party that takes on obligations. This covenant will be very different from the Old Covenant. For in the New Covenant, God's laws will be written on people's hearts instead of on stone. God makes a covenant with Abraham in Genesis 12, 15, and 17. An important feature of the Abrahamic covenant is that God appears to bind himself to this covenant unilaterally. Like the Abrahamic and Davidic covenants, the New Covenant is a one-sided divine commitment type of covenant. That is, the Abrahamic covenant is a one-sided or divine commitment covenant. God's fulfillment of these covenants drives the story throughout the Old Testament and into the New Testament. Based on God's promises in the Abrahamic and Davidic covenants, promises that find ultimate fulfillment in Jesus Christ as he inaugurates the promised New Covenant. He already has in Jesus. He offers us not just a law to follow, but a relationship with the living God. God put stipulations on himself, but not on Abraham and his descendants. In the New Testament, Paul will associate the Abrahamic covenant with the concept of grace. God, however, in his grace, continues to be faithful to his unilateral promises in the Abrahamic and Davidic covenants. So even as Israel shatters the Mosaic covenant, there is still hope for a glorious future. The Mosaic covenant is defined by the laws of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. This covenant defined the terms by which Israel could live in the promised land with God in their midst and receive spectacular blessings. In the New Testament, Paul will associate the Mosaic covenant with law. In 2 Samuel 7, God makes a covenant with David, promising to establish a Davidic dynasty that will last forever. Finally, in Jeremiah 31, God promises that in the future he will make a new covenant. This covenant will be characterized by forgiveness of sins and a much greater knowledge and understanding of God. In the New Testament, Jesus establishes this covenant at the Last Supper when he declared, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." The Abrahamic, Mosaic, Davidic, and New Covenants play a critical role in the Old Testament story and in connecting the Old Testament to the New Testament. Israel will fail miserably at keeping the terms of the Mosaic covenant, and thus they will experience the judgment promised in Deuteronomy. The Old Testament prophets will proclaim judgment on Israel because they broke the Mosaic covenant, but the prophets will proclaim hope for a glorious future. In Jesus, God didn't just make another promise, he became the promise. Through his life, death, and resurrection, he fulfilled what no one else could. So today, you don't have to wonder if God will keep his word. Be blessed and keep following us for other biblical stories.